How's everyone doing today? This is the Drew Carrier Podcast Show, and today we have the Reason to Doubt interview. Reason to Doubt is here today. They actually have their own show on Anchor, and where I'm about to interview them right now. Let me jump right into the questions. How long have you had your own show?
Hey, how you doing, man? Well, I'm one part of the Reason About Podcast. It's J.SIMS, the host and creator of the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So going on a year and a half now. Started in in March of 2019.
How did you come up with your name?
Reason to Doubt, we go by like the doubted. It's just anything you do in life is always gonna be doubt in your mind. It's gonna be doubters thinking, why are you even trying this? People putting doubt on you. So I just think it's a real thing. And it's a play on words. We talk about music a lot. And like my favorite artist is Jay-Z and his
Yeah,
first
he's one
album,
of my favorites.
Reasonable Doubt. And then Reason
Dead
to Doubt.
Presidents.
Just a nice little play on words. But it means a lot also. By just the doubt that I'm trying to eliminate any doubt from people's mind. You can do anything.
I know in a
Well,
lot of your interviews or in a lot of your episodes, you speak a lot about rap and you speak a lot about things occurring in the culture right now. But one of my favorite series that you have right now is Talking Dirty After Dark with Mr. James. Like that show is hilarious. Like the people that he's talking to, like I know there was one where I think it was the second episode. I think y'all only have like 2 episodes out. But
Yeah, episode 3 will be out tomorrow. Mr.
yeah,
James,
I'm gonna definitely check it out. I subscribe to y'all. But what was funny was he was interviewing this guy, and he was like, "You fucked my mom," and he was like, "Don't say nothing like that." Like I was just like, "Oh shit!" Like it was so funny. You feel? I was like, but it felt so
yeah,
real because it was like the dude was just saying like what really go down. He was saying like the stuff he was doing. It felt raw. Like, and I like to watch raw things. Like, I'm very
yeah,
into
man.
like stand up. Like I like raw things.
Man, I appreciate you, man, for checking that out. Shout out to Mr. James. Definitely, we expect a lot more from that. But Mr. James' show, Talking Dirty After Dark with Mr. James, is very different than the Reason to Doubt podcast. But
Mm-hmm.
like you said, it's raw, uncut. They just going. He's interviewing people. He's gonna have a lot more guests, familiar faces that the world might know. But he's just talking wild and uncut, man. So yeah, appreciate that. Expect more out of Mr. James. There's definitely some more coming up.
When did you start like knowing that you wanted to have your own show?
You know, I don't really have like a lot of like regrets in life or anything like that. But one thing I can say I regret, I wish I would have started doing this about 5 years ago, because that's when I thought about doing it. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's like your ego or anything. You just like, man, I'm not doing that. And you just doubting yourself,
Yeah.
thinking it. But I always had a nice voice. Like if I'm on social media, Twitter or
Mm-hmm.
anything like that, somehow my thoughts create conversations.
Yeah.
Even with on Twitter, I might say something to a celebrity and they reply right back. And I was just saying, maybe I know a little bit what I'm talking about, so I just maybe started my own show. But the main reason I started it right after this, R.I.P. to Nipsey Hussle. He's a good
Mm-hmm.
motivation of mine. Just him. I always liked his music, but just more and more as I got older, I got to almost following him, his lead on certain things. And I just doing regular Twitter stuff like I would do, and I posted the top 5 verses of 2018 or something like that. And when I
Mm-hmm.
posted it, Elliot Wilson from Rap Radar, he retweeted it, and it was a lot of people retweeting it. But Nipsey Hussle actually posted it on his page and retweeted it and everything.
Damn.
And that was in like December or something, 2018 or something. And after that, that's when I started. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make my own. I'm gonna start my podcast. Because it was just stuff like that. I was doing things like that was creating conversations. And then somebody I really looked up to and admired posted it. It really gave me like motivation. Like, okay, maybe I'm moving in the right choice.
Well, you speak a lot about motivation. What's your message to your viewers?
At the end of every episode, I say, just because they couldn't do it doesn't mean you can't. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that's the mantra or whatever I wanna put out there. Like whatever you want to do it. Just put the work in, and I feel like universe. If you work hard enough, like you're gonna get a shot. And don't let people tell you and put doubt in your mind that you can't do what you want to do. Because somebody might you might say, I want to be a rapper, I want to be a movie director. They be like, you
Mm-hmm.
can't do that. They might, because they got doubt in them. So they might be somebody that love you, but they just looking at you like, man, no, don't do that. Get a regular job or anything like that, because they
It
couldn't do it.
it kind of reminds me of have you ever seen this movie called Fences with Denzel Washington?
Fences, yeah. I know
Yeah,
what
and
you're talking
like
about.
Fences, it was he was too old to become a baseball player, and he always blamed like racism on the reason he was being too old. And then his son like gets scholarships, and he tells his son to like go back to his job while he quit his job and stuff. And it's like
Yeah.
I see that a lot in regular everyday life.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be an entertainment. It could just be anything. You just might want to go to college, and nobody around you, anybody, has gone to college or graduated college. So
Mm-hmm.
they might put doubt in your mind, tell you don't do it because they had trouble doing it. So just because
They
somebody
don't see
couldn't
the
do
dream.
something, exactly. Just because somebody failed at something doesn't mean you're gonna fail. So that's just my motivation that I try to give people. Just because they couldn't do something doesn't mean you can't do it. So just focus in, learn from other people's mistakes. That's something I like to
Mm-hmm.
do. I like to watch somebody else fail at something and do what they didn't do, you know.
Yeah. Could you tell us a little bit about your upbringing? Because I know you saying how you had to learn from your mistakes or anything. Is that something that happened to you when you were younger, where you was like, hey, like this just changed me, or like, hey, like, um, I guess this is a new chapter in my life.
Well, yeah, multiple things. I grew up I'm from Alton, Illinois. It's about 10 minutes away from St. Louis, like right East St. Louis, Alton. We all around the same place. But I
Mhm.
grew up, I grew up in outside Chicago in Aurora, Illinois. And that's where I grew up at. I went to grammar school and everything like that. So
Mhm.
just seeing I'm a Midwest kid. I done seen a lot. I lost my father at like 6 years old.
I'm
To
sorry
and
to hear that.
yeah, it's RIP to my pops. But just seeing other things. I was a kid. I played ball my whole life. So I went to college. I played basketball. So
Mhm.
me playing ball kept me on a good straight path. But I seen so many of my friends making mistakes and doing things. Like my brother went to prison when he was young. He was about 16, 17 and went to prison, and I seen him make a mistake and I was like, I didn't want to do that, or I didn't want to do this. So me learning from other people's mistakes has been like something I did my whole life. Cause in any scenario, it could have went left. I could have been with one of my friends that got caught doing something that I wasn't supposed to do, and my life could have changed.
Mhm.
So me doing this podcast and me trying to just motivate people to just do whatever they want to do, it all comes from my upbringing. I can talk about so many things because I grew up around so many different people. I've grew up in the projects. I've lived in the suburbs. Like I
Mhm.
I have like I have I dealt with racism my whole life. My grandfather is a white man who married a black woman in the 50s. So it's like
Oh yeah,
I
that's
I
that's
have
elite.
I have a side of the family that I've never been around, never met. Like
Mhm.
my grandfather's family like disowned him when he was got married to a black woman that back in the day. So it's like I've dealt with everything. I can speak on everything. I'm 31 years old, but
Mhm.
I have a lot of knowledge on just life. I feel like I can share with people, and that's something that I think our podcast brings something different to the podcast scene, because these people that talk about music, talk about the industry and this culture, they're usually in L.A., New York. They're in like these places. They're talking from a space that the everyday person can even relate to.
Yeah.
Me and my team, we talking from the everyday person who works a 9 to 5 and also gets fly and also listens to music, also like out here in the streets and just doing everything that people are doing. But it's more people can relate to us than can relate to a Joe Budden that's a millionaire already. And,
Yeah,
you
someone
know,
already like super accomplished. Like, how can I relate to someone talking about like they got a Bentley or they got like or they just had like 25 meetings this week? You feel me? It's like, how can
yeah.
I relate to that? Like tell me from the ground up.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to do, and that's what we're trying to do with our thing. And there's more shows like on my YouTube channel, Reason
Hmm.
Doubt YouTube channel. Like we have the Mr. James show. We're gonna keep doing the Reason Doubt show. We're gonna do a show strictly music. We're gonna have Reason Doubt sports. We're gonna try to expand the brand where it's more things on there and just more to relate to more people. But I feel like it's a void in the culture where it's like where the everyday person can relate to.
Yeah,
I feel like,
we just starting to see like sellouts and like rats and like people that are like
yeah,
almost sacrificing themselves for attention or something, or hurting themselves for attention or something. We're not
yeah,
seeing like people that are like going through what we're going through. It's like the I don't want to say like everything. I don't want to sound like an old head,
yeah,
but everything does change. But I don't want to
uh,
say everything is getting fake, because it's
yeah,
different eras. Like, I had this conversation earlier, and there was this guy. He was like, "Well, Michael Jordan is he's the best, and Kevin Durant's better than LeBron James." And I was just like, "Bro, do you watch basketball, bro? Like basketball isn't judged like real analysts. Like one thing I noticed about people, like real analysts know that you can't judge like LeBron James and Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. You can't really compare them. It's hard. Like it doesn't
yeah,
it wouldn't really make sense comparing them. But it's an
yeah.
interesting subject.
Yeah, and I had not a debate, but you know, I know I played basketball my whole life, so everybody
Mm.
talks to me about like basketball. Who you think? Like my personal
Yeah.
opinion, it was a long thread, and it was saying an argument LeBron and Jordan and stuff like that. And I was just saying my opinion and my personal preference. I like Michael Jordan better than I like LeBron James. But I can make a
Mm-hmm.
case that LeBron James is the best. I can make a case that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the best and Kobe Bryant's the
You
best.
can really make a case
It's not,
anyone's the
yeah.
best.
None of that can be factual. Like nothing can be
Mm-hmm.
factual because these people will never play against each other head to head. So you
Mm-hmm.
can't really say who's the best. Like it's all like so you can't. You can. It's interesting conversation, but they can't get that deep because there's no factual point. So y'all just arguing points. But at the end of the day, you can walk away from it. I'm gonna believe what I want to believe. Like
Yeah.
so. I understand exactly what you're saying. People just arguing about nonsense just to hear
Yeah.
themselves talk a lot of times, man.
It's unrelatable arguments. Like when I see Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman, or I see Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp drinking Hennessy and smoking Black and Miles and stuff. It's like they talk about the same thing every day, and they're wrong every day. But we watch
You're
it
right.
to see how wrong they are. We're like,
Yeah.
what is he finna say today that's wrong? Or what are they finna do today that's wrong? We don't really even watch it to get real facts out of it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if
I
people
know
really
exactly what you
wanted to like analyze things, you can't there's not a best anything.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all
And
about
I feel
preference, man.
like and I feel
It's the
like
same thing with
you're
rap.
yeah, man. I feel like your podcast is like bringing back relatable things, man.
Yeah, man. I appreciate that. And that's basically what we try to do. You know, the reason that podcast is more, we're trying to be like a lifestyle. We're trying to give people advice. Not saying our advice is gonna be the right thing to do or not the right thing to do. Just giving people our POV. Like so with relationships and with anything, just life in general. You know, with anything, we just trying to give our POV on things
We're
because
trying to give a realistic review. We're not trying to give one of them, you know, if you go with your heart or one of them like sayings. I hate when people say sayings to me. I fucking hate that shit. Like I hate that shit a lot. I hate when people be like, well, you know what? Like you should just try every fish in the sea or like, and then you with a good woman. But then they tell
yeah.
you to follow your heart. But then you listening to somebody that's single and they ain't in no relationships. Or you listening to one of your homeboys who cheats on all his girlfriends and you got a good girlfriend. It's like, it's draining almost.
But you know, that's something that's good on our show because you got some of us like married, some of us single, some, you know what I'm saying? So it's four of us. So,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll have guests. So we might talk about a relationship. The good thing about our show, you might get 4 different point of views. So you might get it from the married guy. You might get it from the single guy. We might have a female
Mm-hmm.
on sometime. You might get it from her. You know, we try to give you multiple point of views. So and that's the way, cause you're going to make your own decision at the end of the day, but you can just hear things out. Like, okay, that makes sense. I'm not feeling that. I'm not fucking with that. You
Yeah.
know, I feel like that's something we try to bring to you because we don't agree on shit on our show.
You're not supposed to though, but that's the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Like y'all not
yeah.
supposed to agree on anything. We're never supposed to agree on anything in general, really.
Right, right.
But
That's it.
from a talk show host to a talk show host, I'd say some of my influences are like All Deaf Digital. They have like a lot of podcasts, and they're all
Mm-hmm.
comedians, and they made me want to start my own podcast. Who are some of your influences?
My influence on the podcast game, first and foremost, I want to say RIP to Combat Jack. That's
Combat
probably the
Jack.
first. That's probably the first podcast that I ever listened to, and
Mm-hmm.
RIP to him, a pioneer in this podcast game. But also like Charlemagne the God, you
Yeah,
know, I always
Charlemagne
been
he offensive. I don't try to be
yeah.
offensive with people. Like I be trying to
You,
give out a good vibe.
yeah, like that's not me. That's not my personality. Charlemagne's like how he
Hmm.
interviews and how he talks.
I
That's
love
not my
Charlemagne, but I never did.
yeah.
He's like Gordon Ramsay. Like it's cool to watch, but I wouldn't be on that
Yeah,
mode. You
and
know.
that's what I'm saying. Like that's not really my vibe. Like how he
Hmm.
acts and the wild shit he says. Like
It's
that's
interesting.
not really me. But he's entertaining. So it's like he's
Hmm.
definitely somebody that I like to pay attention to. Um, I would say really in a like throwbacks, man. I watch old Arsenio Hall videos. I watch
Yeah, I be watching
I,
like Vanilla Ice. When he talked
yeah
about when that guy he was gay and he was in the audience and he was saying
yeah.
you don't support gay people and he was like I interviewed and I had Elton John here last week. What do you mean I don't support gay people? Like people trying to come at him and stuff.
Yeah, I'm a student, man. Just like anytime I'm into something, I'm a
Hmm.
student of it, man. Like it's just I love watching old interviews or old interviewers. I like watching all types of stuff, man. Oprah, Barbara Walters, you know, like really, like I'm
Hmm.
really into it. But with podcasting, you know, I enjoy the Joe Budden podcast. I like
Yeah.
sports, Jalen Rose. So a lot of these people are motivation for me, but I'm just watching it, and I would do this stuff for free. Me and my friends, we sit around and talk shit for free, and
Hmm.
we're doing it now, and we're not getting paid like that from it, but it's moving faster than I thought it was going to move. In a year
Yeah.
and a half, it's already paying for itself. Like with the few ads and stuff that we have, and me
Hmm.
and my friends can sit around and give our point of view on things. It's nothing better than that, man. I'm gonna keep working until it gets bigger and bigger. But and shout out to Wallow and Gilly with the $1 million worth of game. I fuck with them too.
What's your recording process?
Well, we record on Sundays. We try to get one episode out every week, but every Sunday night. And that's the thing, man. Just getting 4 guys. We serious about this. We take it serious,
Hmm.
and we're gonna keep working. But just 4 four guys with everybody got a family, everybody got responsibilities, everything, everybody got lives, and that's something I'm proud of my team. We consistently do this every week. We
Hmm.
70. We just finished episode 70 this Sunday. 70 episodes in, and those 70 episodes we probably took 3 weeks off or something like that, maybe. So I'm really proud of my guys. And yeah, but every Sunday and what we do throughout the week, we might shoot topics back and forth to each other. And on Sunday, I'll probably structure the show where in the format that we're gonna do it in. But just depending on the guests, depending on the vibes, this is depending on what we talk about. But it's a lot of freestyle, but we do have points that we want to make. When something's serious and we want to make a point, we do write it down. But the thing that we in right now, we got a segment to ask or doubt it. And that's really fun to have our listeners send us voicemails or send us messages and answer their questions. That's been a lot of fun to do on the show lately.
Is there someone you're trying to get on your show, like a celebrity or someone?
Um, shit, everybody. I mean, I would love to interview so many people. I would love like everybody, but I
Hmm.
wouldn't I wouldn't pinpoint it just to one person. But
Like
like I
Jay
said,
Z or someone?
of course, like I would love to interview Jay-Z. Like
Yeah.
I would love to, but I mean, big or small, like we say Jay-Z, I would love to interview Freeway from Rockefeller. It's nobody.
Memphis Bleak, Just Blaze.
Yeah, like I want to. Those are the stories that I want to hear because you never know. Those might be the best interviews. You talk to a Memphis Bleak, he can give you a perspective. He was there the whole time on the rise of Rockefeller. He can give you a perspective you never heard because you might have never heard Memphis Bleak. And shout out, I left his name out, but this is like my favorite podcaster, and he's like one of the main reasons why I'm doing this. Free Tax Stone, the tax season podcast. That's my favorite podcast like ever.
I've heard
I forgot.
about Tax Stone.
Yeah, tax season podcast. Check that out. Tax Stone. He's in jail right. He's in prison right now, but he's definitely. I left him out. I didn't want to leave him out. Free Tax Stone. But yeah, but for guests on my show, I would love just to have anybody, man. Anybody with a story. It doesn't. You don't even have to be a celebrity. If you got compelling conversation, I would love you on my show. If you got a message to give, I would love you on my show. But yes, as we build and we build a audience and we build a name for ourselves, I would love to start having many people that I looked up to in the industry. Like I would love to interview Spike Lee. You know, some people that I just haven't heard on podcasts. That are legends. In our culture. I just want to speak to anybody in our culture that's a legendary.
Yeah, man, that's dang, man, that's dope, man. I know enough about basketball and I know enough about music, but like my whole thing is really like filmmaking, man. Like I know almost everything about like movies. Like I could kind of
Uh huh.
like ruin movies for my friends or like
Cause you know
ruin
the setup,
TV.
how they're going.
Yeah. Like there used to be this show on TV. I know you probably remember. It's called Lizard trucking or something. Lizard tow
Yeah,
trucking.
the towing truck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it
I
would
know what
have
you're talking
that
about.
black girl on there with the dreads and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So I remember, I think it was one episode, and it was like they went to somebody's house and they ran up to them, and like you could hear the audio real good on the like person house that they went to, and like the person's face wasn't blurred out, and I was like, you can hear the audio real good on this person. Like this person has to have a mic. And then my friends were just like, dude, like, why do we watch shit with you, bro? Like like I can ruin shit. Like I'll be watching movies and shit. I'll be like, the CGI is bad. They be like, what you mean the CGI is bad? And I'll be like, bro, it looks like a cartoon in the background. Like it looks
All
like they
right,
just sitting somewhere. Like
all right. Watch the Breathing Up podcast, bro. The podcast almost got ended one time because it almost was a fight between me and my co-host Fresh 60 over Power, the TV show Power.
yeah,
Because my opinion on Power is it was good for the first 3 seasons, but now it's just too fake. It's stupid to me. the storyline just
The
doesn't.
logic is too
Yeah.
unrealistic. It has to have
So
real
like,
logic.
yeah, and that's the thing. That's the thing with me. How you saying the CGI and the mic, I'm
Hmm.
more on the storytelling. Like it got to make sense a
Oh,
little
like
bit.
this,
Like a
like the script has to be, it has to make sense. Like it has to have
yeah.
realism and like it has to
And
reach
and
a
I and
place.
I and that's what I'm saying. Like I understand it's entertainment and shit like that, but it can't just
Hmm.
be that wild to me. So it's like me and my friends, we having arguments. You know, we talking about power because everybody loves power, and I'm
Hmm.
giving my opinion on it. And it's it's so like people feel so strongly about things, it gets so emotional. But I'm the same way, man. I don't really like. I gotta kind of
Hello, hello. We lost